Flight of the Crowswing is in South Carolina. We kayak on the Edisto River, Lake Marion, and the Sparkleberry Swamp. With the Backroad Capers, March 2022. After our adventures in North Carolina, we left the Cedar Point campground and made our way to the Santee State Park on Lake Marion in South Carolina. We were driving along, minding our own business, when we were suddenly clotheslined by a low-hanging wire. Luckily, it caught on a roof rack and broke. Otherwise, it could have done damage to our travel trailer. The rest of the drive to our lakeshore campground campsite was uneventful. The large campground was not full of people, but it was full of pollen. But we took our allergy medicine and soldiered on. We spent the next day exploring the drainage ditches around Summerville. Nestled in the lowlands of South Carolina, the area around Summerville is a prime location for finding fossilized shark's teeth. Hunting for fossils is one of our favorite pastimes. We did not find anything large, but we did find quite a few well-preserved specimens. We had planned on spending a day kayaking through the Congaree National Park. We found the put-in and began unloading our kayaks. Beth noticed a hissing noise, which turned out to be a torn lug on one of our back tires. Damaged beyond repair, we loaded up our kayaks and drove to Columbia. There, we ordered 4 new tires from Discount Tire. After ordering our tires, we drove back to Congaree and walked their boardwalk trail. We took our time, strolling along, admiring the trees, and watching out for wildlife. In a lake along the trail, we saw what the Southerners call bream. We always called them bluegill. And we found this plump fox squirrel busy doing his own thing.
I hate it when I drop my contact lens. Where is it? It's gotta be right here.
And there were birds. The next day, we headed to the Long Creek Landing to paddle up a section of the Edisto River. Since we only have one vehicle, we have to make the put-in and take-out the same place. We paddled up the river until we got tired, stopped for a nice, pleasant lunch. That'll work. And then paddled back down to our launch point. All in all, we managed to paddle just over 3 miles. With plenty of time left in the day, we decided to drive down to the Willtown Bluff boat landing. We had hopes that the current would be less strong because the river was wider here. We found it was much easier paddling, and as a bonus, there were a couple of islands we could paddle around. Shortly into our float, Beth saw a duck swimming in the river. It did not fly away as she approached. She found out it was a coot decoy. Great. Now we are traveling the country with another old coot in the truck. did my best to capture these crabs on video. Between the skittering crabs and the drifting kayak, it was not easy. Along our journey, we saw this historic-looking chimney on the shore. Beth decided she wanted a closer look, so she climbed carefully out of her kayak and up the muddy bank to investigate. The mud was very slick, very thick, and it was everywhere.
Making bad decisions. It turns out I couldn't get very close at all due to some swampy land. It really wasn't worth it.
And I kept my camera trained on her the whole time, just in case she were to slip and fall, so y'all could watch it.
Ha! But I made it safely back in my boat. Maybe next time, folks.
We're a little stuck, but not too bad.
I've seen worse. I continued to try to get footage of the crabs. And then we saw this gator. Further down the river, Beth decided to go for a stroll along a sandbar. Upon our return to the boat landing, we saw these fine gentlemen and gentle ladies having an important meeting. This paddle was just over 3.6 miles in duration. Chores needed to be done, but we were happy to hear that our friends, the Capers, would be joining us for the weekend. When they arrived, Debbie needed to sleep after working the night shift as a nurse, so she and their dog Kodak took a nap in our trailer. Jay, Beth, and I did a float from the Low Falls landing on Lake Marion. Jay was familiar with this area and knew exactly where we needed to go. The float took us past several abandoned floating shacks and sunken boats, all victims of past hurricanes. This was the most striking cormorant I've ever seen. I'm filming an eagle. On review of the footage, it was obviously an osprey. The swamp was full of happy turtles. At one point, we got out of our kayaks to investigate the railroad trestle. There was signage forbidding people to be on the bridge, so we couldn't go any further. As the sun started to go down, we made our way back to our boat landing. This was only a short paddle, 2.55 miles. Looking for a longer paddle with more wildlife viewing, we went to the other side of Lake Marion to launch from the Sparkleberry Swamp Landing. This time, Deb came along with us, and Kodak, aka Snowflake, was left napping in the trailer. It was a nice launch, but you had to be very careful to avoid being run over by the powerboats careening through the cypress trees. I guess some people just had disagreements with the posted speed limit.
Blimey. You have good eye, James. You saw him. He does blend right in.
We did find this small water snake sunning himself.
If not for that pattern on his belly, he'd be so camouflaged.
Now he knows what it feels like to have paparazzi following him. Jay spotted a gator floating amongst the weeds. We took lots of photos, but he was mostly submerged.
He thinks he's all camouflaged because he thinks we can't see his tail.
Estimates of his length range from 8 feet, Beth's guess, to 15 feet, Jay's guess. We continued to look for more, but that was the only gator we found.
Beth. Yeah, come up beside me. I'll get you the binoculars. Yeah, there's I'm sure it is.
We passed an osprey nest. We got to watch the pair actively fishing to feed their young. We found a damselfly emerging from its larval stage.
Is this considered to be its birthday? Or is that when its egg hatches?
And I took this photo of a snake, but in review, it was just his tail. This trip took us 4.46 miles in just over 4 hours. And then it was back to camp for rest and relaxation. We once again enjoyed spending time with our friends. Soon they were heading home and we were continuing on with our adventure. Thanks for watching! And what happens when you use an Aurora Borealis generator in a flip-pack? Magic.
The dog is at it. He's like, what is wrong with these people?
Dog was like, can we go to sleep now?
It's bedtime yet.
Hey, quiet hours is 10 o'clock.
How was that?
It's not 10 o'clock yet.
bazinga.
Now, here we have, this would be Aphrodite. Oh, wait, no, we're under the water. This would be Pisces. There we go. Okay. And this bug is moving into your anus. Ooh, it's so spacey.
It's very spacey.
Spacey. Aw.
I think every flip pack should come with one of these.
Really cool.
Jay, you need to get out here.
That is
That is freaking awesome.
awesome.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you need one of these. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe.